Okay, so hello, business builders, and thank you for joining us on the series of which I've entitled If They Can, You Can. And what I'm doing is I'm chatting to local business owners, legends like Jon Lilley from the Wheatsheaf, and we're specifically focusing on what sort of problems have they encountered over the last wee while, and more importantly, what have people like Jon done to overcome them so that we can learn from them and say, well, how can we apply this to our businesses? And it's part encouragement and part a bit of a kick up the backside to say, how can we do better? So, Jon, for our viewers out there, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about who are you and what is the Wheatsheaf?
So I'm John. We run the Wheatsheaf with my wife Becky.
Okay.
Been there for just come up to 13 years. Do fresh food, large seated area out the front. Very good in the summer. Sunshine place, good place to come. Friends to come, ladies to come, have bottles of wine.
Right.
It's yeah.
Okay. Well, you don't just do fresh food, you do fabulous fresh food.
Thank you.
And you also have a range of an enviable and an award-winning range of beers. I know because my husband loves them. And you've managed to do something which so many in post-COVID have not managed to do in the hospitality industry, which is to not only survive, but thrive through the hard times. So I know that a lot of viewers out there hide behind this reality that, oh, well, I was in one of the hard hit industries. So, I've got a reason why business may not be as robust as it could be. So one of the things that I'd love to talk about is, COVID came, it hit, it's destroyed 30% of the entrepreneurial market, and yet here you are, bigger and better than you were before. So talk to us about some of the things that made the experience okay for you. How did you survive and come through?
Well, when we first opened, we flooded twice in our first 3 years.
Like
So
flooded?
yeah, we were like this high the second time.
Right,
It was
okay.
very it was bad. It completely wiped out all our capital pretty much.
Okay, so just stop there for a moment. So for viewers, the Wheatsheaf is in Croston, which is a beautiful town, picturesque place to be, but it did have a flood history.
It did. We knew that
Right.
when we came, but we
Okay.
thought it was every 25 years, is what we were told. It
Okay.
floods every 25 years
Right, and it was twice in 3
and
years.
twice in 3 years.
Okay, so COVID was a doddle in comparison.
So we got used to disasters. We got used to how to cope, how to manage, how to lead your team through it. Basically, yeah.
Okay.
To stay positive and I thought basically if I survive 2 floods and I can come out the other side, I can survive this.
Okay, so it's kind of feeding into that logic that practice with failure creates resilience with failure.
Most definitely.
Okay, all right. So that's an interesting thing for us to appreciate because most times we tend to look at failure as something to be avoided. But I'm hearing you saying that that was part of how you're managing to be successful post-COVID is because you've learned through difficulty before. Okay. And staying positive, that's one of those catchphrases that people throw out there, oh, you've got to stay positive. But what does that mean in actuality for you? Like,
You have to stay positive to your staff. You have to lead the right attitude down and set the example at the top.
okay, so that means that be the most positive, passionate person in the room. Okay.
So during COVID, we had group chats and we
Okay.
regularly, every week, sometimes twice a week, all tuned in, just spoke, just had a laugh, just remained positive through everything, had laughs and jokes along the way, and just kept a good vibe between all the staff.
Okay, so that's one thing. Coming from Africa, I have used it before. This whole thing of the value of a sense of humor. And one thing you said when we were preparing for this was, which I know to be true about you having interacted with you, because I'm a big fan of the Wheatsheaf, is that no and can't are not part of your vocabulary.
No.
Okay, right. And the staff all know that.
I hope so. Yeah, they should do.
Right. Okay. So it's not just having meetings; it's having the right sort of meetings. And would you say it's true that if you're not leading by example, those meetings don't turn out well?
Yeah, we don't have many face-to-face meetings
Right.
now. It's because we're open for breakfast, because we have a young team.
Right.
They're at school, college, and then on a weekend the business is open early for the breakfast. So it's difficult to find a time where you can get
Right.
everybody together out of pub hours.
So how do you practically handle that?
So we do that through, again, just through social media or Messenger
Okay.
and WhatsApp and things like
Right,
that.
right. Okay, so making use of technology.
Mm.
Okay, so what were some of the mistakes that you saw fellow business owners making?
I think the main one was when we first given the opportunity to open up for outdoor
Yeah,
seating only.
yeah,
To not open your doors at that first opportunity was, I think, a big mistake. There were many pubs that I saw on online forums that had the large seating areas, all the tables,
yeah.
and still decided because it was going to be harder work or more labour
Right, right.
intensive,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
not opening. And you can be sure that those customers got settled then
yeah,
somewhere else, or
yeah.
a good chunk of them would have.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the thing about customers is particularly in the hospitality industry, a lot of them, certainly through COVID, learned to stay at home and drink for cheap
Mm.
or drink cheaper at home. But I'm hearing you saying you took advantage of the opportunity to say, let's serve outdoors, even though it was harder work and you knew that. And presumably because you were ready for that.
to,
Okay.
to all that time that we had at home, if the first time that you could open your pub, if
Yeah.
you was not ready,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have a pub.
Okay.
We
All right.
went through, we refurbished the toilets.
Yep.
We went through the paintbrush, gave everywhere a lick of coat,
Yeah.
washed the glasses every
Yep.
week. You know,
Yep.
that first opportunity, that first time we could open,
Yeah.
we were ready.
Right. Okay. So there's the tip, viewers, is to stay ready because bad times also end. Oh, okay. All right. So, John, let's go on to what about the emotions? You know, you've talked about being flooded as if it was just something that happened. Hey ho, we got flooded twice. But I mean, the emotions that go with something like that, the emotions that go with, you know, everyone that we relied on for trade is now banned from coming to the restaurant. We don't know when this is going to end. It conjures up emotions. Like, what do you do with those?
I'm probably a bit, I don't know, backwards in that sense because the
Okay.
floods is out of my control. Yeah, the reason when we flooded twice, it wasn't my fault. So that for me takes a lot of the emotion out of it. I know
Right.
I'm in the situation through not my own fault, act of God or whatever, or
Yeah.
with COVID, it's a government order. You know, so for me that took a lot of the pressure off.
Right.
And I kind of like worry about the things I can control,
Okay.
not the things that I can't. So
So that sounds to me like the importance of right sizing problems.
mm.
Okay, all right. Telling yourself the truth about them. And yet, how do you make sure that sleepless nights don't happen? What kept you from having a sleepless night?
Well, there were sleepless nights
Okay.
because we were down in the pub
Yeah.
cleaning everything up.
Yeah.
So it was 3 days. Both times when we flooded, we were back open 3 days
Wow.
later.
Wow. Wow.
We had a lot of volunteered help. People in the village come in with bringing their own mop buckets, their own
Wow.
cloths, their own.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the good thing actually again with not having the flood insurance, if we'd have gone for the insurance people, they would have condemned the building for 6 months.
Holly haw. All right. So that's the misunderstood mercy that comes out of sometimes closed doors. Yeah. Okay. So you talked about people bringing their mops. Now that's one of the things that I personally love about your pub. You walk in there and it's a kind of that old-fashioned cheers, like everybody knows your name kind of vibe, which is, it sounds cheesy, but it's real in your pub. And I think one of the things that I see that I think carried you through was this investment in relationship. Tell us a little bit about the furlough.
The furlough. So we furloughed everybody, unlike the Weatherspoons. They
For
tried
the
to
full time,
for the full time
right?
and my key staff that had mortgages, kids, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I topped up their 80% with the other 20,
Wow.
so they had the full income. And we also had a 15-year-old pot washer who was too young, no national insurance number,
Oh.
and he got furloughed as well and got £50 a week cash for the whole 5 months. So everybody was looked after to. I must admit, I didn't think it was going to go on 5 months. I thought I'd only have to do it for a month or so, but
John, that
I
takes
started.
reserves,
So
hey?
yes, yeah,
All right.
it's all money out there,
It takes
out the
money.
pocket.
So you're not just a restaurant owner, you're also a businessman. You've learned to take your restaurant craft, if I can call it that, and turn it into a business. How come?
I used to work for the big companies,
Okay.
so I got used to. I had to go to Birmingham and have monthly meetings all the time. I had to
Right.
learn how to read P&Ls. I was given budgets to to work to and to stick to.
Viewers, did you hear that? He's become financially numerate. He knows how to work the numbers. He's turned his restaurant love into a business. Yeah.
When you work for the big companies as
Yeah.
a manager, they give you that P&L with the budgets on there. If you don't stick to those budgets, you're out the door. So you have to learn how to run the back office and how to run your business.
Yeah.
So I did that for probably 6 or 7 years.
Right. So
before taking the plunge on my own.
Right. Okay. So you went into your own thing informed, educated, and that allowed you to tackle restauranteering as a business primarily, which enabled you to build up a reserve for when, not if, the hard times hit.
Yeah.
And because of that, you were able to support your staff in ways that have kept them with you. Did you lose anyone?
We lose people. My chefs, my main key staff, they've been with me about 9 years now.
Wow. Wow. So that's a fairly long period in your game.
The bar staff and the waitresses, we keep them for 2 to 3 years, and then they go to university and come back and go. But it's the nature of our business.
Okay.
It's definitely we definitely keep people a lot more than the average of the industry.
And what is the advantage of that for a business like yours?
It's cheaper. Training people is expensive because you always have to rota twice as many people on if they're untrained, so you can show them. So at the minute, if I need like 3 people on today, if one of them doesn't know what they're doing, well, then I need at least 4 people on. And it takes months before you can actually leave them to do their job to the standard that you want it done at. So it costs money. When you lose people and you bring somebody in, it costs you a 4-figure amount, definitely.
But I'm hearing you saying that if you don't train them, it's going to cost you more.
That's what so it's better to look after the ones that you've got. So important to treat the staff well.
Yeah, it is. And it's a trite thing to say, but that's not about paying them peanuts. It's about making sure that they get well rewarded. It's about making sure that when tough times come, you tackle it as a team. And I think it's also about, Andrew Stanley said it, and I think I've quoted it in the book, that whole thing of be the kind of person that the kind of person you're looking for is looking for.
Yeah, if I remember reading that.
Okay. So A-team players like to follow A-team business owners. So compliment to you and Bex. Okay, so where was I? You've had a read.
I have.
Right. Fortunately, you liked it.
I did. I thought it was very good. Very useful as well.
Okay. So what's the one thing that you took away from that? You're seasoned, you're educated, you're experienced, you're making money. You still find time to read. What's one of the takeaways?
When you have a vision on what you want to do, to look at what that vision looks like before. So start from the end and work your way back. So you know what the path is. You know exactly what that picture of success at the end looks like, and if it's a monetary value, what the amount is.
Right.
So you have a very clear picture, and then once you've got that clear picture in your head, you can then guide your team down the path, and you can work back, identify all the processes that you need to put in place.
So it's that sort of man on the moon thing. And for viewers out there, one of the things that Jon has done very well for the Wheatsheaf is to say, here's my net present position. You heard him testifying to the whole thing of profit and loss and knowing his numbers. And then you're also talking about, if you're clear about the vision, once you've got those 2 points, mapping between the 2 of them with a plan is so easy. And once you've got that, the team don't get lost on the way.
I also like the tiny little QR codes in there where you can direct you to your website and things like the trajectory charts and stuff like that. I'm going to tailor to my my business.
Modern tech, I mean, that was a huge worry, and it was the first thing I checked when the book went into a draft print, was that the QR
They do
codes
work.
took
They do
it to
work.
where
Definitely
it
do
was,
work.
yeah.
I did the questionnaire on how one of the ones on there.
How the business was doing.
How efficient.
Yeah. How did you score, by the way?
I can't remember actually. I didn't actually see the score, to be honest.
Okay. Well, we'll have to go and have a look at that when we're finished here. Okay. So what would be some of the do's that you would say to business owners out there?
I think one of the main ones is to do what you say you're going to do.
Okay. So integrity.
For us, the opening hours is a big one. We open on a weekend for breakfast at 10 o'clock, which is quite early for us because we don't finish work till about 1:30 in the morning.
True.
So sometimes we're literally getting 7
Yeah.
Only 7 hours rest period between shifts, but we say we're going to open. I'd peeling my head off the pillow most weekend mornings, but I said we're going to do it. The customers need to know the trust.
Yeah.
Should we go to the Wheatsheaf for breakfast? Oh, well, will they be open? Last time we went, they said they were open at 10.
Okay.
They wasn't. On same, if you're open till midnight, if it's quiet at 11:30, you know, we stay open.
Yeah.
Fortunately, that doesn't really happen too often that we're quiet, but definitely stick to it and do the things that you say you're going to do.
Okay, all right. So, what do they say? Walk your talk. Okay. What are some of the things that you would say don't do? You've talked about don't moan and complain. You've talked about how action can mitigate panic. I mean, it's a funny, almost counterintuitive truth that if you're busy solving a problem, you can't panic about a problem. So while you're busy mopping and cleaning, you can't panic about the fact that you've been flooded. They're mutually exclusive. What's another thing that you'd say to businesses out there? Don't do that.
We talked earlier about treating your staff well, but treat your customers well as well. Don't try and fool them, get them in with an offer.
So give me an example. Give me an example.
Just make sure, be transparent, be clear. Don't try and fool the customer or trick the customer to make a quick buck, because once you've tricked them once, you never see them again, and especially in a village.
Okay, also true. But you talked about the whole thing of a lot of people in the restaurant industry post-COVID said, we've got to play catch up. So we'll just add on money to each pint. You know, we'll just add it on.
I think people overinflated. When they opened, people looked at what they needed to do as a percentage.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't deal in percentages anymore. I did when I was corporate, but now I'm a business owner, I deal in pounds. And I thought to put 50p on a pint was way too much, especially when people have got used to, you know, drinking a pound for a can at home. To then, and especially when you first opened, it was a limited service, reduced service. So to charge more and offer less just seemed wrong.
Yes. I had that complaint with the university that my daughter went to. She didn't go onto campus for almost 3 of the 3 years that she was at university, and yet the fees stayed the same. It was like, what? That it didn't sit right. So I'm with you on that one. So we would challenge you to go down and taste the food and then tell us whether you also don't think it's fabulous, because I do. Right, finishing off, have a look at the viewers out there and just give us one word of encouragement. If you're a business owner right now, what's something that you would say?
Just keep going, believe in what you're doing. Just roll your sleeves up, prepared to put the hard work in, but have a look at what you're doing, reflect on what you're doing. And if you think that it's still the right thing, keep going and work hard at it.
Yeah, work hard. Okay, so that's the thing, is that running your own business isn't the easy option.
No, but it can be very, very rewarding.
Yes, it is. Business on your terms. Well, Jon, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very
for joining
much.
us.
Thank you.